Some of the World Junior Selection camps are going on right as we speak, and right now that gives us a great opportunity to scout out some of the guys who may be going in the upcoming drafts, maybe 2021. Just a lot more younger stars finally get a chance to move up in some of the lineups on their respected teams and make an impact. I'm going to get into one of them here. He by no means was someone who is moved up all of a sudden because of World Junior roster spots, but Cole Sillinger on Medicine Hat is starting to take that next step. I've wanted to talk about him all season. He's definitely been one of the best 16-year-old in the entire WHL, if not the CHL. And, you know, the Tigers this week were up and down, either doing or receiving the poundings. I remember they had an 11-1 win. Like, it was just a wild week for them. Although, like I just said, Cole Sillinger is someone I wanted to talk about all season, and finally I have an excuse or an opportunity to talk about him this week. The 16-year-old put up 10 points in 4 competitions this week, including a 6-point effort with 1 goal and 5 assists. Sillinger is arguably the top rookie in the WHL, if not the CHL, like I already said there. Currently, he has 35 points in a mere 28 games. That's awesome. I know he's on the top scoring team in the entire WHL, but as a 16-year-old, putting up production like that is still nonetheless incredible. Speaking of young guns too, the Oil Kings are starting to get really hot. Currently 7-0-1 in their last 8. And after 2 cookie-cutter wins over the Broncos, I did not expect a 7-1 blowout over the red-hot Tigers that I just discussed. I've personally noticed guys like Matthew Robertson and Josh Williams are definitely starting to step it up a notch, with other guys like Dylan Gunther really starting to get into the groove with the league so far. The Rockets are playing a little too close for comfort, going 2-2 this week, but in an unusual fashion. During their Eastern swing, they had a 2-1 shootout win over Brandon, a 3-1 loss to the Ice, a 4-3 loss to the Pats, and barely scraping away a 5-4 OT win in Moose Jaw. And with their new bolstered roster and finally getting Pavel Novak back from his 8-game suspension, I really didn't expect the Rockets to struggle as they did this week. Perhaps the addition of Connor McDonald from Edmonton will strengthen that blue line and really give Caden Korzak someone to rely on when he's not on the ice. Moose Jaw was able to snap their 9-game losing skid in a 4-goal comeback over the Blazers, but they resumed their obnoxious ways after an 11-1 loss to Brandon. They also nearly had another win versus Kelowna, but sadly fell to them in overtime after a goal from Ryder Korzak's brother Caden, who sealed up the Warriors' fate on their home turf. Hopefully these 2 closer games are a good sign for the future in Moose Jaw. Kamloops had a shaky start to their Eastern swing, especially after a 5-4 overtime loss where they were up 4-0 at one point in the game against Moose Jaw. That was just a nightmare. Anyways, after that, the Blazers were actually able to end the road trip on a very positive note, going undefeated the rest of the way. Routine wins in Regina and Saskatoon, although their win over the Raiders was a really intriguing one. Even if that team is missing Protas right now, it's still great to accomplish taking down last year's league champions. Lots of credit needs to be given for Oren Centazzo, 6 goals this week, 2 in each win that they secured after the loss in Moose Jaw. I know Wild fans have their eyes set on Kirill Kaprizov, and they have all the right to, but I think they should shed more light on Adam Beckman. He's one of the sole reasons Spokane is in the position they are in. Beckman has been involved on 44% of Spokane's goals this season so far, and he currently sits at 49 points in the 30 contests with the Chiefs. For someone that they snagged up in the 3rd round, I can't believe how well Beckman is and how overlooked he was. I don't know the whole story behind him last year, what his flaws may have been to send him down that much lower, but holy cow, is he ever having a campaign this season. Anyways, time to flow into the top players we have this week. First off, it's going to be 16-year-old Cole Sillinger. I already told you why I have him here. 10 points, 4 games, 16 years old. Enough said. Up next, Luka Burzan. I did mention that 11-1 win that Brandon had over Moose Jaw. Luka Burzan notched himself 6 points in that game, a hat trick and 3 assists. And then we have Oren Centazzo for his 2 goals in each win the Blazers had this week. Great effort by the 19-year-old. And for our top teams, we got the Portland Winterhawks, the Oil Kings, the Kamloops Blazers, and the Spokane Chiefs. This is usually a much shorter episode. This is going to be around a little bit just over 4 minutes, and I have a reasoning for it. Just because the teams that were struggling a bit more this week were missing a lot of their top key-in players, such as Lethbridge. They don't have Ocular, they don't have Cousins, they don't have Addison, so naturally they did slump a little bit more usual. And there's much cases like that, even for like Prince Albert, kind of the same thing. So rather than say, oh, they're not doing good, what's the problem? You already know the problem. It's because they're missing some of their key players. But anyways, you guys won't see me next week. Actually, the Christmas break begins next week here. I know there's a couple games on Tuesday and Wednesday, but I don't feel it's enough to make a whole week's coverage worth of it. So I'm just going to take the week off for the next one, guys. Enjoy my holiday break. And then we're going to be back when the World Juniors are on. And yeah, the WHL will be back too. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.